Welcome. Hello, Reform UK! Are you having a good night? Yes. Good. Because I want to start by taking a moment to appreciate all of you. Appreciate all reformers and what we've achieved together. I want you to think back to the 3rd of June, 2024. It was a lovely summer morning, and Nigel Farage tweeted that he was going to make an emergency announcement. He even used one of those siren emojis. And he stood before the country's media, and he announced his candidacy to be the Member of Parliament, to be the next Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea. And he announced that he would return to lead Reform UK. Now, back then, the bookies gave him a mere 30% chance of becoming the next MP for Clacton. Now, fast forward to today. Look around you, everyone. Look at what we have achieved together. Reform has hundreds of thousands of members. We built over 500 branches across this great country. We have made history, sweeping the board in the local elections last May, and now have almost 1,000 Reform councillors. We've led 250 national polls in a row. And I'm pleased to report, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Nigel Farage is the bookmaker's favourite to be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom! But look, I've got to be honest, today is actually a very dark day in British politics, and it's important that we talk about it. Because for years, Labour and the Tories have gorged themselves on fat donations from all sorts of shady characters. Reform has subsisted on a relative pittance and still run rings around the Uni Party. But recently, Reform received a pretty large donation from an upstanding British citizen. That donation was perfectly above board, perfectly lawful. So how did Keir Starmer respond? By weaponizing the instruments of state to persecute his political opponent. He commissioned a civil servant named Philip Rycroft to write a report on stopping, and I quote here, foreign interference in British politics. The result? Well, the report published this afternoon said a new law was going to come into force to place a cap on what that donor could give us in the future. And it would be retroactive to take effect from when? Today. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, these are the actions of a dictator in a banana republic. Starmer is an authoritarian. He cancels elections he's going to lose. He surveils anti-government speech. And now he chokes off perfectly legitimate funding for his political rivals. Well, we have a message for Starmer. You're already the most unpopular Prime Minister in this country's history, and your authoritarian attempts to crush us will not work. They will only make Reform stronger! You know, isn't it fascinating? Isn't it fascinating how fast the machinery of government can move when it's protecting itself? It's unbelievable. Choking legitimate funding for his political opponent, instant. It can happen in weeks. The Uni Party can do that pretty much instantly. When it comes to stopping the boats, or deporting illegal migrants, or ensuring violent criminals are in jail, oh, that takes years, according to the Uni Party. When it comes to justice for the rape gang survivors, that takes decades, according to the Uni Party. Well, here's my message to you. I promise you that when Reform is in power, we will move at the speed of light to secure our borders, deport all illegal migrants, and ensure that all those involved in the rape gangs and their cover-up face the heaviest possible price for their crimes. Look, for years, the Tory Labour Uni Party has looked the other way while the very fabric of the society we love has been under attack. We've been told to just accept open borders, that a country that spends £60 billion a year on defence should just stand powerless as men arrive in small boats day after day. That we should just shrug as our streets change, knife crime goes through the roof, and that traditions and the culture of Britain are heartbreakingly eroded. Well, I want to say to you that these things are not inevitable. They are the deliberate choices of weak men and weak women who lack the courage, lack the spine and the moral clarity to defend the country they were elected to serve. But here's the thing. I don't accept this. Nigel Farage does not accept this. And I know you do not accept this. And that's why a reform government will end it. And a reform government will also confront the truth that our country is being invaded. And I know many in the establishment gasp at that word. They may well clutch their pearls in their television studios. But the dictionary definition of invasion is an incursion by a large number of people in an unwanted way. Almost 200,000 people have broken into our country across the English Channel over the last 8 years alone. That is more than stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. As Home Secretary, I will end and reverse this invasion. Because the patience of the great British people is simply exhausted. We're no longer willing to accept that Britain's borders should just be open and undefended with nothing we can do about it. We're not going to accept any longer that Britain should simply surrender its sovereignty to foreign courts. This is a national security emergency. It is time to put the British people first. That is why, upon winning the next election, a reform government will launch an unprecedented emergency program to track down, detain, and deport all illegal immigrants in the United Kingdom. Operation Restoring Justice will be the most transformative policy, I believe, of our lifetimes. Now, many shrill voices in the mainstream media have already called our plan draconian. Here's our response. The United Kingdom is being invaded. Tens of thousands of military-aged men continue to arrive on our beaches illegally. Our plan is the only appropriate response to a national security emergency. It will immediately stop the boats by sending a crystal clear message that being in our country illegally now has an ironclad consequence: immediate detention and removal. Deportation is the ultimate deterrent. And as Prime Minister, Nigel will direct every instrument of state to ensure illegal migrants are removed from this country. We will pass the Illegal Migration Mass Deportation Act. And the draftsmen who worked on these laws, I know because I commissioned them, were given a crystal clear instruction that when Nigel is Prime Minister, there will not be a judge in the country that will be able to prevent a single deportation flight from leaving this country. We will create a legal obligation for the Home Secretary to deport all those in the country illegally and disapply every single international treaty that would otherwise be used to keep illegal migrants in this country. We will pass a law that makes clear that if you come to this country illegally, you will never be granted asylum. End of story. And, you know, a lot of the press has said, oh, reform are going to create some sort of ICE-style agency. Well, guess what? We will create a new agency, UK Deportation Command, and they will have one mission and one mission only: to relentlessly track down, detain, and deport every single person who is in this great country without permission. We will embark on the most audacious charter flight operation since World War II, ramping deportation flights to 5 departures every single day. And to guarantee success, His Majesty's Royal Air Force will keep a Voyager aircraft on standby as a hot spare. So even if a plane has mechanical issues, flights won't be stopped and deportations will not be delayed. Return agreements will be secured. Countries of origin will take back their nationals. And if a country refuses, well, guess what? We will simply stop issuing visas to that country. And that is why, as Home Secretary, I will immediately cease the issuance of visas for countries including Sudan, Somalia, Eritrea, Syria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Reform deeply values the traditions that built this great nation. And we're never going to apologize for our great history. We will defend our culture, because a nation without a culture is not a nation. It's just an economic zone. It's a shopping mall with a flag just waiting to be exploited. And that's why we will protect and defend the Christian heritage of Britain. And we will end the incendiary practice of converting churches into mosques. I'm proud to say that a reform government will immediately grant listed status to all churches and create a new statutory use category for Christian places of worship to ensure that these historic pillars of our communities can never be converted into places of worship for any other faith. And a reform government will also do something the Labour refused to do and the Tories failed to do in their 14 years in government. We will run an accelerated inquiry through a committee in Parliament to get to the bottom of the despicable crimes of the rape gangs that have terrorised young girls in this country for decades. And I give you my word, we will leave no stone unturned to ensure justice for the victims and their families. We will ensure that the demonic perpetrators and the officials who enable them, by not only turning a blind eye, but also in some cases partaking in these disgusting crimes, that they are all brought to justice and made to pay a heavy price for their crimes. Now, we all know that people, human beings, they simply respond to incentives. And for too long, witless politicians have created an incentive for people to come to Britain and take advantage of the goodwill of you. Your goodwill. The goodwill of the lovely British people. And British taxpayer funds should be spent exclusively for the benefit of British people. The British welfare state should be available exclusively for British people. And it is an incendiary slap in the face for every working man and woman in this country that British taxpayers have been forced to spend £15 billion, billion with a B, on universal credit welfare payments to foreign households in the last 18 months alone. Just think of the state-of-the-art hospitals that money could build, the thousands of police officers it could put on our streets, or just think of the tax cuts it could deliver struggling British families. And again, I want to make a crystal clear promise. We will stop this hemorrhage of our national wealth. A reform government will immediately terminate welfare payments to foreign nationals. Now, in recent weeks, Labour has gone to war with itself about changing the rules around indefinite leave to remain. Even the Labour Home Secretary can see that the looming catastrophe of the Boris wave is set to bankrupt Britain unless urgent action is taken. Boris Johnson, of course, you may remember him. He promised to take back control of our borders. Do you remember that? And he did that. And what did he do with that control? He simply threw them open. Over 4 million people arrived in this country in 3 years as a direct result of this man's policies. And the vast majority came here on non-work visas. And most of them came from third world countries. 2 million of these Boris Wave migrants will imminently gain indefinite leave to remain in the coming months. That means lifetime access to our welfare state for them and their families. And this is going to cost the British taxpayer hundreds of billions of pounds over the course of their lifetimes. Reform will not allow this. We will avert the Boris Wave. A reform government will abolish indefinite leave to remain altogether, and millions of non-contributing migrants the Tories brought to Britain will not be allowed to stay in Britain. And I want to close by saying thank you to all of you. We've already made history together. We've already defied the odds together, defeated many enemies together, all because of you. And the path ahead remains long and treacherous. The attacks from every possible angle will only grow. But we need your help to ensure, firstly, that we have a full slate of candidates for the local elections here in May. This is your chance to join us in the cockpit and chart a course with us to save the country that we love. So if you're interested and are willing to step up, please see a member of our team as you leave tonight. And I promise you that if we stay the course, if we stick together, if we find it in ourselves to rise to this moment, then we will sweep the board again in May, we will win the next general election, and together we will change the course of British history. Thank you very much, everyone.